this lesson, we're going to play around with the rest of our paints that are still on this plate, but this time I want to get a bigger brush, and I want to just make more random splotches on my paper, because after this dries, we're going to add some abstract designs. So I just want to make sure that these are a little more smooth than the ones before. I don't want a lot of big lumps of paint as right here. I want to just make sure it's all smooth. So in our next lesson, we're going to do something similar, but I'm going to go ahead and apply paint to a second sheet while I'm doing this one. And again, I'm just using up these paints. These are semi-primary colors. Let me move these around so that you can see them both, and this will save us a little bit of time. I am not going to clean my brush. Instead, I'm just going to dip it right into my pink, because that will go ahead and help us get some lovely orange. Dip it in my blue. So I want some areas of just solid blue and some areas overlapping my yellow to produce green, and some overlapping my pink to produce purple. And I'm just trying to cover the entire watercolor paper. I want to come in and add some abstractions to it. I'm still using up the paint that is in my palette. So I'm going to work really hard not to make a whole bunch of circles as I keep doing. Look, there's a square. See? And here was a triangle. Let's do another triangle. Random, weird patterns. And now I'm going to not clean my brush and go straight into my yellow, which will make some yellow and some green. You can overlap the patterns you've already drawn on here or painted, as it were. Alright, so I'm going to clean my brush, and just like I did in the last lesson, I want to make some random marks. This time I'm going to do, well, I was going to do dots, but now I decided to do dashes. Then I want to come in and with my white make some more crazy abstract shapes, overlapping. And how about some squiggle lines? All right, so I am going to leave this to dry, and then we'll come back in just a bit and add some acrylic markers to it. All right, so we are going to add our Posca pens. These are just acrylic paint markers. You can use Sharpie paint markers or whatever brand you have, or you could just do this with regular acrylic paint and some thin paint brushes. But this is kind of what is going to make our crazy abstract paint pop. But I do want to give you a few hints. So what I have here is just a whole glob of them, but these are a lot of the midtones. And I don't want the midtones because I have mostly midtones in my painting. So I would suggest getting some with the darker tones. So here are my darkest ones, and then maybe some with a lighter tone. So I've got a very pale pink, kind of a mint blue and a white, and then a navy. This one is kind of a mid-tone, so I'm going to take it out and use my navy, a purple, a burgundy, a deep green, probably take the orange out, and just keep my black. And so these are going to add a lot more life and dimension to our piece as we create. So I will save the lighter ones for later. I will actually move them aside, and I'm going to hold off on the black. I'll probably add it after these colors. So I'm going to start off with my blues and maybe my green. And what I want to do is just look for areas where I see some of the darker blues, and I want to come in and just add more random patterns, perhaps outline them, maybe add a little extra detail here and there, and just start giving it some oomph with shadows. And so that's why I'm choosing the darker paint pens first. So I'm just going to play around with this in time lapse, and we'll be back in just a bit. All right, so this is feeling a little Vasily Kandinsky-ish. I actually decided that the green and the purple weren't really showing up. So I just stuck with the blue and the burgundy, and then I loved how the black made it. It just popped with all these bright neon colors underneath. And so I'm actually going to skip these light ones and just go straight to my white, because I wanted to just do some fun little dots, and I know that the white will show up a lot better. than these other colors. All right, and I'm just gonna leave it like that because I love all these neon pops of color and these crazy weird outlines. Obviously, it looks great from all directions. So play around with your just crazy, chaotic background and add in some fun swirls, some fun shapes, crazy squares, triangles, anything you want, and then decorate it with your paint pens. And I can't wait to see what you come up with.